Hello, everybody. Mitchell here on Streaming Consciousness. Today we're going to talk about, well, it's what is consciousness really? It's so hard to quite pinpoint where it begins, where it ends. Um, but I think what's fascinating for me right now is I have been spending maybe more time than I should, uh, probably far, far, far less time than most humans or most Americans on YouTube. Um, and but the little bit of time that I do spend on YouTube, what I try to look for are things that suit me and not things that direct me, excuse me, out into tangents. What I'm looking for are things that support uh, who I am, what I want to be, and stop looking for and try to keep the distractions to a minimum. So I do know right now there's a lot going on with politics. There's so much chatter about the election being stolen and about Kamala being the rightful um, nominee, the rightful 47, that the Republicans are just creating a mess. There's a lot of fear mongering, and that's kind of that's how they work. That's their primary tool. Um, and the tech bros jumping in and trying to do a clean sweep of the government coffers. so, uh, and I mean, I can get all that in just incidental uh, swiping. Um, but I think what really fascinates me too, though, is that I get rid of those. I say not interested or don't show this channel. But there's others that just keep popping up, and because maybe I'll just click on one little thing, and the next thing there's uh, five different MAGA uh, condemnations, or because I'm probably more um, in the camp that does see uh, what well I feel like what I try to do is be in my own reality. Let's say that. And uh, my own reality is dictated by how I feel. Uh, and so when I feel like this, I see an article or a video, and it does not feel good. First off, if it just doesn't feel good, then most times I just delete, eliminate, not interested, don't show. Um, but I try to be aware of those things and say, well, why is it that I don't feel good? Um, and it's because it doesn't support my own truth. And here's the cool thing is I can be in my truth and feel good. And my truth can keep me in a state of balance. And that state of balance occurs when I'm feeling the best. So if something doesn't feel right, and I'm reading this article or I'm listening or I'm watching, and I continue and I start feeling worse and worse and worse, what's happening is my truth is screaming. Well, first it's saying, hey, this isn't true for you. And then it becomes louder and louder and louder. Now, I try to keep myself pretty clear so that my filter isn't that high. There are so many people that live deep inside the lie, that has become their normal and their belief. And so whatever lie they live needs more of those lies to support their truth. So, that begs the question, what is the truth? Well, the truth is quite individual, but there's also a clarity, a purity in honest, pure consciousness. And that clarity is our start point, is where I try to get back to. And so if I'm living in a lie, well, that's the tricky point. You don't know you're living in the lie when you're living in the lie. And it seems like the only things that make you feel better are more of the lie, whatever it may be. If it has to do with, whatever political principles or non-principles or opinions that you may have, then those opinions need to be bolstered continually. And maybe that's coming from a narrower base, because honest truth kind of sifts out the lies. And so the lies become thinner and thinner as time goes on. And so actually, that's what I see as the opportunity that we have here, is that consciousness is based on absolute truth, awareness, pure awareness, consciousness, streaming consciousness is the playing field that allows all viewpoints and opinions, but it needs to have that basis in purity. And so even though it allows some very, very wide swings from the purity, it cannot support them. And so they fall out on their own. And so I remain a eternal optimist, a ridiculous optimist, because I see the purity as sustaining only long-term, only that which is sustainable by purity, which cannot be a lie. So anyway, back to where I was trying to go on my story about YouTube is, I see so many of these videos now where they say, oh, you came to this in just the right time because, your spirit guides or, whatever it is are calling you. And maybe there's something to that, and maybe there is some marketing to it. But I for some reason, I'm noticing it. And so maybe it's a little of both. Maybe my spirit guides are drawing me here, and maybe it is because there's just more of it there. Because, even though I've clicked on it once and said, no thanks, I'm going to get 10 more. So, but I think for me, the bigger message is my spirit guides, my understanding, my intuition is always, always, always calling. And I don't need that YouTube video telling me. And I think the trick is to learn to listen to yourself with as much earnestness as you're watching third-party videos that are telling you that your spirit guide has this for you. Come in. Know that you are based in consciousness that is rooted in absolute purity. And we have to start to learn to be quiet. Now, most of us spend our time in the mind, and especially if we're doing a lot of media, it's the mind trying to assuage the mind trying to perpetuate the mind's own perspectives. And if we're always doing that, then the mind itself is continuing to get louder and louder and louder. So we can't hear what our truth is, because our truth doesn't exist in the mind or on the video or the media. It exists. The truth of you exists only within you. And then the truth of consciousness is deeper than even you. And so you don't need to have your own personal truth to adhere to or to subscribe to a much, much deeper truth. So one of the things, what I try to do in each video is I work as a, call me an anxiety coach, and or therapist, even though I'm not a therapist. And anything I say is not medically endorsed. Well, of course, most of what I try to promote is medically proven, or at least peer-reviewed. But I always try to give some exercise to help you to come in, to separate mind from self, the true self, the higher self, the bigger self. And I point at mind, and then I point at self. Self as in, what's in the heart, what's in the chest, what's in the solar plexus. So as a therapist, I work with breath work, polyvagal theory, and mindfulness. I put all these three together to create exercises that help people to work their way through whatever anxiety, PTSD, chronic pain that they happen to be experiencing. And so for today, I would like to just always promote coming into the basic breath. And when you come into breath consciousness, what's fascinating is, and the basic breath, and I want you to initiate that right now, and I'll go into a deeper explanation, but the basic breath is breathing in and out only through the nose. Tongue is at the roof of the mouth, just behind the front teeth, just lightly touching, doesn't need to be pressing. The mouth is closed, maybe a slight gap between the teeth, so your jaw is not clenched in any way. And then we're going to inhale, slight inhale, not deep. We don't want to engage the upper chest at all. We want to do a light inhale, but a deep inhale. In other words, we want that inhale to be initiated by the diaphragm. So we're pulling the air deep inside, but not big air, big gulps of air. So it's And so I only encourage an in count of 2, maybe 3. So it's in, but a much longer exhale. So we're going to do inhale, 1, 2, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a pause in between. So it's inhale, 2, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, pause. Inhale, 2, pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, pause. That's your general rhythm of the basic breath. So much science inside of that helps calm things down, but the ones that I want to talk about today are when you breathe in and out only through the nose, you stimulate diaphragmatic breathing. When you stimulate diaphragm breathing, you bring you bring your awareness all the way to the diaphragm, because that the ventral vagal nerve actually goes through the middle of the diaphragm. So you have this added stimulation that wants to keep your attention deeper in the body. And so you can bring your focus in with the breath. And when your focus is in with the breath, hold it there. And you'll notice that because that massive autonomic nerve is being stimulated, your attention can stay there more easily than when you're not paying attention to the breath and you're up in the head. So my recommendation for today is come into this basic breath, bringing your attention deep into the abdomen, down to the solar plexus when you do go into the breath, and stay there with your awareness. And you can do this eyes open or eyes closed. Eyes closed is much more better. It allows for much better visualization. So if you want to close your eyes and bring your awareness into the body, notice what visualizations come, if it's color, if it's images and whatnot. This is going to help you open up to your intuition and also your connection with this larger consciousness, this absolute purity that I talk about, this clarity that can be found nowhere in the media or in the mind, because the mind is a problem solver. That's what it's here for. It's to solve problems, to fix things, to be curious. And really, if we're honest, if there is no problem, it's going to create a problem to try to fix. And it can be extremely addictive. So just bringing your breath, your awareness to your breath multiple times through the day. And I'm talking about whenever you can. And in neutral situations. Let's not do it when you're in a sense of outrage, at least in the beginning. Let's do it when things are okay. When you're walking the dog or petting the cat, or in the line at the grocery store, or filling your car with gas. Something that doesn't take a lot of mental activity and is a neutral situation. Because what we're also doing is we're creating conditioning so that when we have breath awareness, it's also in a neutral or an okay situation, because we're down regulating, we're turning on the parasympathetic nervous system, it's okay, it's time to rest, it's okay, parasympathetic nervous system. And we're also creating a connection with the mind, that the mind says, oh, I can be still now because the body's calm. Um, and we're trying to reverse the cues a little bit here. The body sends far more information to the brain than the brain can send back to the body. It's an 80-20 difference. So for 80% of the signals that come up to the brain, only 20% are answered. So the body has a lot of interpolation to do, because the mind can't give a solid answer for everything. It only has 2 answers for every 8 questions. Math. So when we go into the body first, then we're actually turning down the requests on the body to the brain. So the brain isn't sending mixed signals to the body, or the wrong answers. I think in our culture, almost without fail, we're sending more answers regarding stress, or information regarding stress, than we are, oh, it's okay, from the brain to the body. And we want the body to help reverse that. So anyway, that's my exercise for today. That's what I have to say for today. Again, my name is Mitchell. This is Streaming Consciousness. Thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this, please leave a comment. Let me know. Boy, have a wonderful afternoon or morning or evening or night, wherever you're at. Also, if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see, as far as therapies go, I do, like I said, I do anxiety work. I do work with PTSD. I do work with helping people sleep. So there's all kinds of really, really great things I can talk about. And leave a comment. Love to hear it. Thank you. Bye-bye.